we should let him know.
Let's do it.
Let him know.
Yeah.
We did a little bit of digging.
Mhm.
We had to do a lot of digging, a few interviews and here and there. It was really hard to track some people down. But then when we finally got it together, though. And
Yeah.
this is as truthful as they will let us be.
Now, concerning the New Year's Eve 1982 show at the Saturn Theater, there were 3 artists that were of particular interest to us. Laurie Eastside of Nada, Piggy, who was, for lack of a better term, Laurie's ward, and Reggie Wanker. See, when Laurie was little more than a teenager, she'd been living a fairly average life as a fairly average cheerleader in San Diego who didn't necessarily want the straight and narrow path. But she also didn't really vibe with the hippie counterculture that had already died on the vine up north in San Francisco. The eventual path that showed itself was on a class trip to London. After sneaking out of her hotel room, Laurie found herself at a Sex Pistols gig at the Nashville Rooms, and Laurie emerged from the show covered in gob and changed forever.
That will change a person.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So by 1978, Laurie had moved to LA and become a regular at Rodney Bingenheimer's English Disco. And by the next year, she'd formed a 50-member band/gang made up of English Disco regulars, from third bassist Helen of Goy to second drummer Susan B. Lasphamy.
Oh, yeah. No, she was the best.
Yeah, Susan B.
great.
Lasphamy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big group. It was like 15 people, which was perfect.
Yeah.
In case someone was sick.
Back to Rodney Bingenheimer's English Disco, it was there that Laurie met a fellow singer who was at one of the many low points in his career. It was in the stall of the ladies' bathroom that Laurie found infamous frontman Piggy cutting himself with a fucking homemade shank and licking the blade clean.
That's what we call in the business a meet cute.
Yes, that's it.
yes, it was. Because, and the funny thing is, Nada had like a good feeling about Piggy. Actually, she invited Piggy over to where she was living at the time in the famous Wilton Hilton. So it wasn't too far. She's like, oh, come on over. Like, maybe we can play some music a little bit. Piggy actually taught her how to play like one of his songs. It was a really good time. And like, they're like, oh, creatively, we're doing really well.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I found this out because now I see the connection with Rodney. Because I was a faithful fan of Rodney's show on Sunday nights. And that's where I heard Laurie and Piggy for the first time.
See, back in those days, back when Piggy was still trying to find his voice as an artist, he'd cart around this industrial-sized dryer that he stole from a commercial laundry business to every single venue. And he'd do the entire show screaming and tumbling and screaming for hours at a time. Just
But his hair looked great.
looked awesome.
Wait a minute. You know, of course, that there's a famous blues song called Rollin' and Tumblin'.
Of course.
Well, that was how he did finish his encore.
But yeah, this thing is like Piggy. He had some great fucking albums. Like there was Animal Magic, which that was the album that he recorded right before he was kicked out of the Ordo Templi Orientis. For supposedly he summoned the demon Choronzon and sicked it on filmmaker Kenneth Anger.
You shouldn't do that.
But it was still a great fucking album. Then there was the Riled one. That was the doo-wop album that he did with Alan Vega. That because Alan Vega was doing really well in France with Jukebox Baby at that time. A couple of great tracks. We differ on whether that album is actually good or not.
I like it better.
She likes it better than I do. But yeah, the best was definitely the Number series.
Yes, the Number series. Okay, so after running out of like names for his album, Piggy, he's just decided like I'm just gonna number my albums now.
Yeah.
So like kind of like a Led Zeppelin thing, but instead of starting from 1, he decided to do a countdown from number of albums he planned to make down to the last one he'll ever do, being 1. So he named his latest album 14, and then he never recorded again after that.
Never. But yeah, like as obviously cool as like Piggy and Laurie Eastside were, like out of that whole lineup from the Saturn show, I mean, the grave disappointment was Reggie Wanker, which Reggie Wanker was, of course, I mean, before he was Reggie Wanker, he was the lead singer in the legendary garage rock band The Stomachs.
Great name.
I mean, they were one of the coolest proto-punk bands of the time. I mean, they're up there with like the Sonics and the Monks as far as just music that's ahead of its time. But after the Stomachs broke up following their ill-advised 1964 album, 14 Songs About Food and Candy, Reggie Wanker spent 6 years trying to learn blues from various Southern bluesmen, but all the Southern bluesmen told him, get the fuck away from me. I don't want to talk to you.
You remember the Dylan ad that Columbia did? Nobody sings Dylan like Dylan. And the natural response is, nobody wanks like Reggie.
Oh, that's right.
I remember. What really killed his cred was the Tomorrow Show with Tom Snyder appearance, where he agreed to change some of his lyrics. for
Oh,
broadcast.
he had this really popular song that he was promoting called "Hot Cum," and the producers came up to him and be like, "Hey, listen, instead of hot cum, which is kind of
Right.
offensive on broadcasting on TV, can you change the song to how come?"
Oh.
So you see, it didn't really make sense, but they went with it, and then he was banned for life until maybe like about a year later or something, and it was canceled.
Yeah, but he
You
did.
know, it really reminds me of the Ed Sullivan Show when Jagger sang, "Let's spend some time together." You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, right, from Let's Spend the Night Together.
And
Yeah,
yeah, and Jim Morrison had "Girl, We Couldn't Get Much Higher."
Yeah.
You know?
No, but he did it and never really recovered. Like,
No, and Ed said to Jim Morrison, "You will never be on this show again." Bo Diddley was another one, and Jackie Mason. So Ed was quick on the trigger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's a whole club.
Captain Cloud, not something you ever listen to much, right?
I really enjoyed a lot of Captain Cloud, but it is from a different time, I think.
One of the things I like about Captain Cloud is they remind me of early Hawkwind.
Now, Hawkwind, we love. Like, we're down with like In Search of Space is fantastic. I mean, if you listen to In Search of Space, the Hawkwind album, like, that's pretty much Joy Division.
Also, the Clouds sound like the Grateful Dead when the Dead really get lost. You know? When it goes beyond mere doodling, into this other thing.
Oh, no, it's a tapestry of the universe. But
Yes.
the tapestry of the universe is, you can only stare at the sky for so long.
Lou Reed and Auden look very much alike.
Very much,
Mhm.
yeah.
Very much. And people are saying that they're not separate people because there's never been a photo of the two of them together at the same time. What's your take?
You know what it is? They never met.
But there's always that thing, who is the new Dylan? So who is the new Lou Reed? Auden? Or is Lou Reed the new Auden?
Oh, yeah, that's a question for Captain Cloud.
That's a chicken egg thing. And it's amazing because a lot of that stuff I didn't know. And, having been at that gig and helped out on the film crew, I thought I knew them a little bit.
There's always deeper stuff to dig on. And it also could all be lies.
Yeah, that's my favorite part.